Yay Networks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brit Madrid-Mogensen. Welcome back to Bees In with Brit. We have an exciting show for you. We're going to be talking all about the current cosmic environment. I'm going to give you guys all the tips and tricks you need for Aquarius season, especially how to dress. And we're going to get into Miley Cyrus's birth chart and the astrological significance of flowers. I know you guys have probably had that on repeat too. Who hasn't been living for that song right now? So let's get into it. All right, guys. So before we start talking about astrology, I have got to tell you, this has been the craziest day. And we're going to talk about how Venus is in Aquarius. So this is really not supposed to be happening. So producer Riley and I think that there might just be a ghost involved. So I've saged the studio. We had phones playing music out of nowhere. We had computers shorting out. We had internet going out. I mean, anything electrical that could have gone wrong did. And if you guys are into like spooky stuff, like I am, you've probably heard that like ghosts tend to mess with electrical things. So if anything happens, you guys, it was a ghost. So I'm just going to warn you right now. If you hear anything weird, yeah, it's the ghost. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on this week in astrology. This is the week of January 24th, and we are finally, I'm happy to tell you, in a really positive phase. Okay, so we always make the best of astrology, right? And knowing the transits is everything. Whether, Mercury's in retrograde or your planet is, or like your ruling planet is in, a great place for your chart, whatever's going on, it's just important to know. It's like one of those things I always like to say, if you know what the weather is, you can bring your umbrella. If you don't have it, you're going to get caught in the rain. So we're going to need an umbrella. Just kidding. We don't need an umbrella. We are loving this astrology. So as of January 22nd, that is when Uranus went direct. That was the last planet that was still in retrograde motion. We have had so many retrograde planets over the past few months. So if you've been feeling like things have just been sort of slow, or like you've been putting in a lot of effort and you haven't seen much progress, I think that's kind of like the general feeling. Like all of my friends that I've spoken with, like everybody's kind of been in that vibe. But I'm telling you guys this because I don't want you to be discouraged, because now all planets will be moving forward for 3 months. Okay. So we have until April 21st, 2023 to put all of the things that we have been like reconsidering during Mars and Mercury retrograde. We talked about that last episode. All those things that we've been reconsidering, redoing. Now, this is the time to take action. So, no more thinking, no more planning, no more daydreaming. It's time to just get into it. It's time to just go for it. Send that email, write that message, have that conversation, get that resume updated and send it out. This is when things are going to start happening. So this is a very action-oriented time, and I want you guys to know it because I hope that it gives you the extra push you need. If there's something that you've been on the fence about, just do it. And another great thing about this time period is that we have Venus in Aquarius. So that is going to help you just do it. And here is how. So when Venus is in any sign, that's going to give us the general vibe for like our love lives and our pocketbooks, because money and love are connected. So weird, but they are in astrology. So this time period of Venus in Aquarius, which is from January 22nd until February 15th, put that on your little cosmic calendar. I love to write these dates down. It's just so helpful. But during that time period, we are going to have a lot of Aquarius, like just a big boost of that Aquarius energy of detachment. And that might sound like unromantic, but it's actually really great for creating that progress. So whether you are trying to put all the things into motion, like we just talked about with all the planets going direct, if you're in that energy, being detached can help you kind of get out of your feelings and get out of like the overthinking. I know as a Virgo sun, like I can overthink, redo like way too many times. And I've definitely been thinking to myself, like, okay, Aquarius energy, detach. Don't be so emotional about things. You know the plan. You already made the plan during the retrogrades. You've had plenty of time to rethink. Now just be brave and do what you know you need to do. So that is how we can really use that Venus and Aquarius energy to do what we need to do. Okay, let's talk about how it affects our love lives, dating, relationships, money, all those important things. We're going to talk about that when we get back from this break. When it comes to our love lives, let's talk about how singles can meet someone. Let's get into that first. So, when Venus is in a different sign, every time it changes signs, like the way that we meet people and the type of connections that we're able to form more easily, we can really find out a lot about that energy from just looking at where Venus is. So, with Venus in Aquarius, Aquarius rules technology. So, if you're already on a dating app, or if you are like on Instagram and someone DMs you, and obviously be careful, be safe, look into everybody. My Scorpio moon wants to protect you. So just, look out, make sure everybody's good. But the truth is, this is a really good time when you could connect with someone if you're single through technology. Another thing, Aquarius rules the 11th house, which is the house of groups. So if you get introduced to someone through a friend, or if a friend mentions, hey, there's this person that I kind of feel like you would vibe with. If you're the kind of person that would usually be like, no, thanks, I would say be open-minded, at least from January 22nd till February 15th. Like, be a little more open to meeting people, to, even going out with people who aren't your norm. We talked about that last episode too. We kind of touched on some of these things. So if you're single, be open, get out there. And also try to be a little bit detached, Aquarius energy vibes. A lot of people think that like Aquarius is not an emotional sign. That's not true. Aquarius is very emotional. However, I really think that that energy is great to embody during the first stages of dating, because while Aquarius energy, it's like, I care, but I'm not going to get too wrapped up until I know you, So being a little bit detached like that during this time, while you just kind of get to know people, and just kind of think of it as like friendship. Keep people a little more at arm's length when you're dating. I know this sounds so crazy, but I'm just telling you, you'll see it will work. That would be a really good way to just go about dating during this time. And it's kind of funny that it's over, like it doesn't end till February 15th. So that means even, during Valentine's Day, like, it makes sense that if you'd be dating someone new, you'd kind of hold them at arm's length, because people get kind of weird around those holidays when it's brand new. Okay, if you're in a relationship, if you're married, if you're dating someone seriously, this is okay, this is a time when everybody, like I said, is going to be a little more detached. So if you are the kind of person, by the way, I just went through this over the weekend. I was feeling needy. I get needy a little bit. My Virgo sun is like, oh, so needy. I need attention or whatever. And I realized I was being a little more needy. And then I was like, hold on. Venus is in Aquarius. Do your own thing and just like try not to worry so much. So when the planets are in this placement, even if you're in a relationship, this is a great time to focus back on yourself. Focus on the things that you are really wanting to achieve, wanting to accomplish. Don't be afraid to like get out of your feelings a little bit and more into your activities, and kind of like be more busy. Anyway, did that. It all passed. Everything was fine. So it's like we can really avoid a lot of drama in our relationships during this time by simply detaching, letting things go, detaching from the outcome, and doing our own thing, and then allowing things to just kind of work out on their own and come around. This is just a time when things will kind of work out on their own. Meanwhile, it strengthens our own sense of independence, which is very Aquarius energy, to do your own thing, no matter what your relationship status. Okay, when it comes to money, during this time period, again, January 22nd to February 15th, this is a great time that you can make money through unconventional means. So, like, side projects, if you do freelance work, especially if it's like graphic design or anything with technology, this is a great time to really put your feelers out for that kind of work, because technology and making money through technology is, blessed at this time. Also, if you are wanting to try something like that and you just haven't yet, but it's like a skill that you have, think outside the box and don't be afraid to try it out. Go for it. Especially because all the planets are direct. So if there's something that you want, even if it feels a little bit crazy and it's a way that you think you could make money, and maybe it's a new path, try it. Go for it. You might be surprised just how successful it is right off the bat. Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about Miley Cyrus. We're going to talk about the song Flowers and Aquarius Season Style. It's always fun to get inspired by whatever zodiac sign season that we're in, especially when it comes to fashion, because whether you have like one of your big three, like sun, moon, or rising in Aquarius, or you just want to channel something new, you want to try out what it would be like, to be an Aquarius, we have every single zodiac sign somewhere in our chart. So it is fun to just kind of change it up, try on a different zodiac sign for size. And if you're interested in doing that, then you're going to love this segment because we're going to talk all about Aquarius style. This is such a fun style. It is so out of the box. So, our style icons that we're going to look to for inspo this season are Harry Styles. I mean, enough said. Harry Styles, like he has been on the cover of Vogue in a dress. He does not care about any sort of convention. He dresses how he wants, the way he wants. He's not afraid to really just go for it. And he doesn't give any explanations. He really has that energy of like, he just doesn't care. He's going to do what he wants. And that is such a vibe, especially this season. Paris Hilton and Megan the Stallion, or Megan the Stallion, those are our other two style icons. Both of them have a penchant for dressing in a way that is flashy and over the top and fun and sparkly and all of the things. Fun fact, they both love being dressed by designer Brian Hearns. He creates these custom looks for them that are like fully Swarovski crystalled. I know that because with the rebrand I've been telling you guys about, I researched him and I made I talked about this on one of the episodes, but I like researched how he did it. And with my Aquarius rising vibe, I was like recreating one of his looks. And that is another thing about this season and style. This is the time to customize your looks. Again, Aquarius energy, it's all about being an individual. It's all about expressing your true nature, going from the inside out instead of the outside in. In Capricorn season, last season, we were definitely trying to present ourselves in a way that was polished and buttoned up because we were in that boss energy of wanting to enter a room and feel competent and confident. Now in Aquarius season, it's like we are totally changing gears in every way. And now we don't really care how other people perceive us, but we want to express ourselves to the world in a way that feels authentic, regardless of what anyone else thinks. So let's talk about the color scheme for this season. Anything that we can put on that's going to give us a little bit of extra luck. So Aquarius is the water bearer in astrology. And a lot of people get confused and think that that means Aquarius is a water sign. But what it actually means is that Aquarius carries water. So, for example, the way to kind of explain this is like a Pisces would feel a lot of emotions, right? And if an Aquarius and a Pisces were together trying to solve a problem, the Pisces would bring the emotion to the Aquarius. The Aquarius would take all of that emotion, all of that water energy, and put it into it's like a little bucket that Aquarius carries. If you see like the photo, and or like the little glyph or the drawing. So Aquarius takes all that water, puts it in its little bucket, and just says, okay, here's the plan, and here's how we move forward. And then the Aquarius carries that water of the emotion and moves forward with a plan based on the interpretation of that emotion. That might sound a little bit like, I don't know, a little bit weird, but truly it's this ability to want to make the world better for other people. And so Aquarius will understand emotions, but try not to get too into them, if that makes sense. So, all of that to say, water and anything that is like blue or especially like aquas and blues that are very vibrant. Even though Aquarius isn't a water sign, they absolutely shine when they're wearing any type of blue. So if you are an Aquarius, sun, moon, rising, or Venus, for you especially, I mean, and you probably already know this, I would imagine that you already gravitate towards blue. For example, I didn't even know that I had Aquarius rising until, my realization a few weeks ago. However, I've had a blue background ever since, for quite a long time. So you will see that you kind of gravitate towards those colors naturally. And if you don't have any of those Aquarius placements in your chart, try on some blue, see how you feel, especially if it's kind of like a shimmery blue or a vibrant blue. Again, Aquarius is really about like this electricity. And standing out. So even though you're wearing a color that's kind of calming, you just want it to be a little more electric. So those are fun things to wear. Also, the lucky like metal for Aquarius is silver. So I just think a fun pair of silver hoops, for Aquarius season is great. My friend Alexis Waters, Hoop Nation by Alexis, shout out. I will be wearing my silver hoops all Aquarius season long. So, okay, let's talk about other things that we can like add to our wardrobes during this season to just channel that fun, out of the box aesthetic. So, any like reflective or like interesting, different looking sunglasses, uh, like hats. Hats are really fun for Aquarians to wear, like especially if it's like metallic or sequin. And some of this might be like, okay, that's a little bit wild. So if it's not for you, it's not for you. But I challenge you to like try it. Just see how you feel. Channel your inner Aquarius. Neon printed sequin tailored suits. We've seen that on Harry Styles. Denim jackets, like denim jackets just like thrown over something. It gives it kind of like a rebellious vibe, very Aquarius. Um, Colored feathers, faux fur, love that. Smiley faces, like cute things that are nostalgic. That's another thing about dressing during Aquarius season. This is a time to kind of embrace your inner child, and anything with like a motif that makes you think of, childhood, anything playful or fun. Aquarius is an air sign, so it's all about being a little bit more like lighthearted during this season, a little more detached, like I said, but like a fun slogan, rhinestones, butterflies, patterns, ultraviolet blue, um, purples, like anything fun that puts a smile on your face is what you want to reach for during this season. Okay, so what does it mean to be in this season? Why do we even care? Why does this exist? What's going on here, right? Well, each season exists to teach us something. And if we're aware of what every season is teaching us, it's like every time we, go around one more year around the sun, we're able to learn more about all 12 areas of our life. And Aquarius rules that 11th house. It's all about groups, friends, the future, the humanitarian energy, us as a collective. So during this time period, we want to be focused on that. And I thought that the song Flowers by Miley Cyrus was such a good example of breaking conventions when it comes to Aquarius season and kind of like the purpose of the season. So when we get back, we are going to talk all about that song and we're going to break down Miley Cyrus's birth chart. Who hasn't been jamming to Miley Cyrus's song Flowers? Oh my gosh, I think I listened to it like 100 times on repeat over the weekend. Like, I love this song for so many reasons on so many levels. And when I like heard it, I was like, okay, this song's making a splash during Aquarius season. It came out during Capricorn season because, which I love that she did this. Miley Cyrus is a fellow Scorpio moon, and this was so Scorpio moon of her. She released the song on her ex Liam Hemsworth's birthday. She released it on the 12th of January here in the States, but on the 13th, made sure it was on the 13th in Australia. Love it. Like, love it, love it, love it. She just kind of twisted the knife a little bit, in the most innocent way. I mean, but it was so good. So when we think about this song, when we really get into it, there are so many like Easter eggs in here. There are so many things that really kind of take you into her relationship, into her truth. And the reason it's so interesting is because she actually has her midheaven in Aquarius. So it is not surprising to me at all that there is this buzz about her song, and she's really starting to share this other part of herself, this other part of her life during Aquarius season. So, like I said, what is the point of Aquarius season? Well, Miley Cyrus is laying it out for us. This is the time when we come out in a way like as our true selves, embrace all the parts of ourselves that other people might find different or things that we might try to hide. And this is kind of like the truth time. This is the time to like be truthful and also to like let other people know, like, as you embrace more of yourself, like Miley is really embracing her story during this time period. And she's sharing so many things that she's never shared before through this song, in the way that she likes to share. And so we see her really being an example And her midheaven, by the way, your midheaven is like how you show up on like a really big scale to the world. And since none of us know, I mean, you might know Miley Cyrus personally, but I don't. So for all of us that don't know her personally, we can only really connect with her, through her midheaven, a little bit through her sun sign, but we don't know her. So it's hard to, really get to know her Venus sign or like any of these other placements in her birth chart really well. But we can definitely see her midheaven in Aquarius. I mean, look at how she dresses. Look at how she expresses herself. She has been trying to break the mold for so long. And when I really got into her birth chart, you guys, I was just, well, first of all, it made me like her so much more. I didn't like dislike her before, but I never really felt much of a connection either way. After reading her birth chart and like looking into her life story, I just like, I just love her so much now. So let's look at, okay, so we have her midheaven. Okay. It's like very, like I said, rebellious. She's teaching all of us through her example how to embrace your true self. And in the song Flowers, she talks about buying herself flowers, which by the way, I did. I bought the red roses for myself from the song. If you guys are watching on YouTube, and I also painted my nails cherry red. Let's all do it. Okay. Embrace the the vibe of self-care, self-love. But the way that she talks about it in the song, it's like she's having this realization that she can do all the things for herself, independence, Aquarius midheaven energy, that she used to think she could really only get from someone else. And I think that that's a realization that we all have at some point in our lives. Miley just got done with her solar Saturn return about this time last year. So it makes sense that now she's really communicating the things that she's learned. The solar Saturn return is our, just a little refresher, it's our like rite of passage into adulthood. So everything that happens before, there's like a big divide, like everything that happens before your solar Saturn return around like 29 versus what happens after. It's almost like looking at someone's childhood versus like their adulthood. And that's really in terms of like the lessons that we've learned and like how we express ourselves. So when she was younger, pre solar return, she was kind of living out of her South Node in Gemini more, and she was going through a lot of like her Chiron life lessons. Chiron is where, right, the wounded healer in our chart. And it was really interesting to look at her Chiron because through all of this, we can really see like the deeper meaning in her songs and in her art. So if we look at her Chiron, it's actually in Leo for her, which is performing. Okay. And she was a child star on Disney. And it's in her fourth. So her fourth house starts at Leo. So that means her fourth house of home is also affected by this wounded healer energy. Now, I did a little research, okay, and I saw that she and her father have always been really close. But what's interesting about that is that they did work together at some point. He was like on her show on Disney. And a lot of the time when people have this Chiron wound in Leo, it's like this sense of not ever getting to really be a kid. It's like you kind of have to grow up a little bit too fast. And in the fourth house, that means that there is kind of there's some sort of link to like needing to be accepted at home for who you really are and not always feeling like you're accepted on that level. And it can be because like you have parents who are really busy with their own careers, so you don't really get a lot of one-on-one time when you're younger, or which could be the case with her family. Or it could be that you feel like you need to live up to some sort of ideal. And so you're not always praised for just being a child. It's like you have to kind of work hard. So we see that in her chart, makes total sense. And then when we move over to her seventh house, which is where your relationships are, and definitely like marriage, things like that. Well, her seventh house starts at 28 degrees Scorpio, and it has the sun and the north node in that seventh house. So that means like her life experiences and north node, her destiny, really have a lot to do with her close relationships, especially anytime that she's married or whatever. So it is so crazy that we can see all of this playing out in her birth chart because it seems like it started out when she was a child, right? With that needing to feel at home, needing to feel loved, you know, by the people that are like, that create a home, that you create a home with. And then when you get married, you create a home as well. And she talks about how they built their home, watched it burn down. Like there are so many compilations. And like I watched so many of them. So I was just like, I don't know, I got really sucked into this. And there are all these compilations of like Miley and Liam on the red carpet. And then she'll like do something funny or quirky, just like be silly. Fifth house energy. Fifth house is like our childlike, ability to have fun and just be spontaneous. Every time she does that, he like shuts her down, moves away, pulls back. And then you can kind of see her shut down or kind of like turn around and like do her own thing. And it really breaks your heart when you see her birth chart because you realize that all she really wants in that moment is for someone to laugh, for him to like laugh with her or embrace her or give her a smile. And really, she just keeps experiencing this rejection. So, a lot of the time when we're going through that solar Saturn return or when we're leading up to that solar Saturn return in our charts, we're experiencing our wound. Like our Chiron wound is like, re-irritated so that we can overcome it, pass through the Saturn return into our adulthood, and then really step into like the strengths that we have and then share them with the world, basically. So I love, 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 love that for so long she talked about how she would always love Liam. And then all of a sudden, on his I just love it. I'm obsessed. On his birthday this year, she's already been through her solar Saturn return. Now she's just sharing what she's learned. She's on the other side and she's opening up and saying, "You know what? I can choose myself," and giving other people the power to do the same thing and to get out of the box of what you think you should be and be who you really are. Aquarius midheaven. I'm obsessed. I love it. Jam that song all Aquarius season, please. Paint your nails red, get yourself some flowers. You deserve it, honey. And I'm going to leave you guys with a quote from Miley in the spirit of Aquarius season. Maybe it's your time to lift off and fly. You won't know if you never try. I love that. Let's all blast off. Okay, guys, I love you so much. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for listening. Again, stay tuned because we are launching the new podcast very soon and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. It's going to be so much fun. So subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Be sure that you have your notifications turned on everywhere so that you keep up with us, and subscribe on YouTube as well. All right, guys, love you so much. See you next week.